Thanksgiving holiday. Feel like you've been blessed. So happy Thanksgiving to all you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I guess we could start with, just the effort maybe that you got from the second half on. It seemed like you guys were playing real well there.
Yeah, it really, it was, I mean, it is what it is. A loss thing, and it should. That's what we're in the business to do, to win. But realistically, in watching the tape, from the 9:18 mark of the first quarter until the 9-something, I may be wrong on the seconds, but about the 9-minute mark of the first quarter, post the first two drives in which we got kind of nickel and dime. It wasn't anything big, but it was just 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards, 3rd and 1, 2, 3, first down. And that was the story of the first two drives. We just couldn't get off the field. Too many 3rd and shorts, 3rd and low mediums. But from about the 9-minute mark of the first half, the first quarter, till about 5:18 in the fourth quarter, they scored 7 points from the 26-yard line and a field goal in a drive where we had a 15-yard penalty. In that time frame, we had 3 turnovers. We didn't always get off the field on 3 and out, but there was some really good football played in that point in time. And basically, I think gave us an opportunity to make a run at it, set up a score in that time frame, got the ball down, I think, to about the 10 to set up a score. So some really good football. That was because they didn't look at the scoreboard, they just kept playing hard. And really, you can't take the bad away. The bad's the bad. The loss is the loss. But you also got to give credit when credit's due. Those guys did not look at that scoreboard. They just kept fighting. And I could name the names, but you saw the game. I mean, they just played hard. And in that time frame, there was some really good football play. We just got to put it all together at some point in time. Probably the best, really, second quarter and third quarter that we played all year long up against a very, very good opponent. I mean, not probably, it is. I mean, it's factual.
When you talk about not looking at the scoreboard, they did that better this week than because there have been some games where seemingly one thing goes wrong.
Yeah, you and I can't really say if they did or they didn't, but like you said, seemingly it looked like external factors affected them, and we got to grow past that. That's just what good teams do. I don't think that was the case at all the other night, at all. In fact, far from it.
Cam Kitchens, I mean, obviously he had 3 picks the week before, but leading the team with the 13 tackles, forcing the fumble. Is there just something that, I mean, I know he puts in a ton of work and we've heard all the film stories, but is there something that just at a certain point started to click with him where now he's always in the right spot where he needs to be?
Well, yeah, there's something that clicked. It's called being a pro, doing your job. But more importantly, he's a really smart guy anyway. If you've ever been around Cam at all, I mean, he's highly intelligent, does well in school. But I've been around guys that didn't like school that were very intelligent football players. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. I'm just being real with you. And he's just a smart guy, and he's really studied like a pro. I mean, he approaches the game like guys did when I was in the NFL. Like, this is my job. It's a full-time job. I've got to work every day at my craft, in the film room, extra. That's who he is. And so he's going into games very confident, but he's also going into games knowing what he's supposed to do, but better yet, knowing what they're going to do.
And Akeem Mesidor had the 2 sacks, the forced fumble. I know we've talked about him before, but just the effort that he's given even late in the year.
Right. Well, the big thing that we're trying to build here is where we have a collective group that have a competitive spirit, that every play, they just play with relentless effort and affect the game. And he kind of does that naturally. It's just in his DNA. On top of that, he's a very good athlete, very powerful, can run, but he's got a high motor. He practices that way. I mean, what you see on Saturday, you know, sometimes when you watch younger guys or you're developing a program, you'll see a different guy on Saturday than you do on practice day. You've heard, you know, he's a gamer. He didn't practice very well, but he's a gamer. Well, there's, you know, my experience, maybe I'm wrong, there's very, very, very few of those guys. But his practice tape looked like his game tape, so it's not a surprise.
Coach, what is Daryl Jackson giving you this season, and then just another young guy, but what do you envision for his next step as a player?
Just keep improving. What he's given us, he's a big, powerful man that has a really unique personality because I don't know if you've been around him very much, but he's very talkative. He's a strong leader, very talkative, smart guy, but he's a huge man, and he's very powerful. So he can command double teams, and if you don't stay on him with a double team, and so what people, I don't know if you've noticed it, but a lot of teams run away from six. A lot of teams, which has allowed us later in the year to overload some things away from him. Because he can eat up space.
And just his future, I mean, just the vision you have for him.
Oh, I think, having been around, you never know. I mean, I don't run an NFL team, but everybody wants to, when they start talking about, like questions you're asking me, where do you see this going? I see him having a great career at Miami and continue to get better, and then he certainly has the ability to make a living doing this.
You guys lost Corey Flagg early in the game. I know he's kind of the point guard for you on that defense. Just how did you kind of fill in for him? What's the plan moving forward?
Not kind of a point guard, he's quarterback.
Yeah.
He's another guy like Cam Kitchens that puts a lot of time in it, studies it, doesn't just know what we're doing, but knows what they're doing. The other guys can do it. They're just a little quieter, just personality-wise they are. He's more vocal. Those other guys will step up. You know, I've seen guys before where one guy was kind of the lead dog, and then something happened and somebody just stepped up, took his place. That's what we expect. I think that'll happen. You know, sometimes you don't talk when somebody else is in the room because they talk real well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, I've seen some talkative people get real quiet when they get around somebody that's more talkative than them. And so, but they step up when they need to. And so, hopefully that'll happen. We're working on it. We got them in a room right now and they're great, working on quarterbacking things, which we've done all year, but it's got to happen. That one, boy, I hate it for him. What a good young man that has given us everything he's had.
Coach, what about Leonard Taylor? He's probably given you more spectacular than just about anybody on defense, other than maybe Cam. I'm assuming you would like to see it more consistently. What's the next step for him as he moves
I
on?
put Mez in that category too.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, just he knows that's a hard way to make a living. What he's saying, it's a hard way to make a living. I mean, there's some big men in those trenches, and so a young guy that's as talented as he is, it's just a growth process, it's a maturing process. You know, and I got exposed to that early in my career. Actually, my first year. You know, now when I say the name, you're gonna say, "Whoa!" And I'm not saying he's that. I'm just comparing the same things. You know, I saw Reggie White when he was a freshman. He wasn't Reggie White that got the gold jacket, although you knew this guy is different. He's special. You know, you see that. Again, I don't want anybody writing that I said Leonard was Reggie White. That's for the future to determine. What I'm saying is, when you're in the line of scrimmage and you're as young as he is, okay, it's a slower development. It is, because that's hard work. He's getting better at playing with better pad leverage. He's getting better at playing with his hands. The last 2 weeks, huge jump in that area. And I think you're just going to keep seeing him getting better and better and better at what he does, because he is a talented young man with a lot of power.
Because you've done this for a little while, obviously,
Yeah.
what have you learned about psychology when you go, and again, not making a comparison, but when you tell a kid like Leonard, I see little bits of Reggie White in you.
I didn't.
No, but okay, when you mentioned them in the same paragraph, when you want to inspire any player
Right.
and say, you're reminiscent in some way of another.
Of the same type
Of the same
process.
type, yes.
Process.
How do you get them to hear that and not hear, I'm that guy?
Well, they're going to hear that they're that guy because they got enough people telling them that other places. I think you just, you know, Coach Johnson, I don't get the quote exactly right, but you know the quote, go look it up about you treat him a man, the end result is you treat him as you want him to be, then he will become that. I think there's a lot of truth to that. You know, I've had to remake myself in coaching. I mean, there's been a lot of things changed since 1980, a lot. And one of the things that has changed is that back in the old days, you know, you could stay after people all day, 24/7, and all the way through every game. And that's just the way it happened, and the guys just win. It's not that way any longer, and I'm just being honest with you. You've got to look for the positive, and you've got to be in the corrections. You've got to correct a certain way, and so just stay as positive with him, and just stay relentless with it. Just stay relentless with it, of painting the vision for it. Show him on tape. Show him others doing it. Show him Derek Brown at Auburn when he was a freshman. Show it Derek Brown the last game before he got picked, the third player in the draft. So he can see what can happen.
Do your eyes still light up a little bit as a coach when you see those kids, and it is probably rare now, who you don't have to always be positive, who they can take what we used to call coaching, and now they call it criticism.
Just
or
coach them
whatever
all.
it is.
Treat them all the same, coach them all different. Treat them all the same, coach them all different. Because they got personalities just like us. You know, what motivates you, different than him. I mean, it's just the way it is. My two children, completely different. One of them got a head like concrete, and one of them you could talk to with your eyes. The girl's the one with the head like concrete, which was foreign to me because I've always been in a locker room around guys and all that. So,
Coach, how big is Anaconda kid for Pittsburgh, the running back for him?
excuse me.
The running back for Pitt, just, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm not gonna try again. But
I'll help you there. I'll help you. When I was a young GA, Coach Majors asked me to tell him about a running back, and I called his name. I said, "You mean so-and-so?" And he said, "Look, I'm not trying to get to know the guy. I just want to know his number." So you're okay. Now, if he was on our team, you didn't know his name. But yeah, very talented, strong runner, great vision, gets the ball a lot. I mean, they feed him. You know, one of the marks of a great running back, if you want to find where the real ones are, look at how many times they feed him. How many times do they feed the ball to him? You know, I was on a team one time that had Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas in the same backfield. Is there any doubt who got the ball? Well, good players at running back, they get a lot of carries. And they feed him the ball a lot, and he is a talented player.
anything else for Coach Steele? All right.
Good?
I'm good.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.